Today we're going to be talking about the two casual dining options that I tried while aboard the Enchanted Princess, O'Malley's and Ocean Terrace. Let's get started. Hi, AJ here from Byte Size Cruises. If you have been around the channel at all, you probably know that sushi is one of my favorite types of food to eat. I was really excited when we were researching Enchanted Princess for me to go to find out that there was a sushi option on board that was kind of similar to the teppanyaki sushi on Royal Caribbean, it seemed, and I was really excited to give it a try. On board the Princess ships, Ocean Terrace is the name of the sushi place. It is open on sea days from 11 to 2 for lunch, and then it's open for dinner from 4 o'clock, and it just says onward. I'm not entirely sure what time it closes, but it doesn't give a close time on the list of hours, which was interesting. So we opted to go for lunch, and that is the experience that I'm going to be working off of. Now, Ocean Terrace is a casual dining restaurant. It is not specialty dining. So that means that if you are on Princess Plus, you have those 2 free casualty dining credits, and one of those can be used here. Otherwise, it's $14.99, $15 to eat there. And the lunch menu is a fixed menu. That is where my biggest issue comes up. So as a lot of longtime watchers know, I have a lot of sensory issues. And then also, one of the people that I was eating with also doesn't like the texture of a lot of foods. With a fixed menu, so one of my issues in general with a fixed menu in a lot of cases is that you can't really accommodate those items. And they didn't have any options for like a la carte even, because the other person in the party was just like, oh, well, I'll just order only what I want instead of being off the fixed menu, but there were no a la carte options. It was literally just you sat down and they brought you out the lunch tray. So that was an interesting choice and not something that I loved at all, because there were things on there that I didn't want to eat. There were things on there that she didn't want to eat. The third member of our party ate all of it. So he had no issue with that. Second thing, Ocean Terrace doesn't have like real high top, like not even high top, normal size tables. They're kind of coffee table height, so when you sit down, everything is very low. We were sat at one small table, which was really fine for the first few minutes, but then they did bring a second table over and we had a little bit more room to spread out. But that also made it a very interesting experience. Also, with going for lunch, there was a line. We did wait about half hour, 45 minutes to get in, and we were the last people sat because it's not that they are doing seating until 2 o'clock, it's that they have to have everybody out of there by 2 o'clock so that they can turn over for dinner. So if you are planning on going for lunch, just keep that in mind and get down there early. I would say get down there closer to the noon to 12:30 mark at the latest if you want to make sure that you are sat for the lunch seating. Now, since it is only open on sea days for lunch, there was a lot of people trying to get in. They did turn away about 3 or 4 parties after us, and then they kind of closed it off and put up the velvet rope so nobody else could come up once they dismissed those people. So just keep that in mind as well, that the earlier you get there, the more likely you are to be able to eat there. You can't pre-reserve for the casualty dining. Other than that, they did have a pretty extensive drink menu. For while we were there, I had a Diet Coke, and then one of my dining partners had water, and then the third one had iced sake. Before I get to the food, I did want to just bring up the sake container because it was so cool. So it was like a little glass decanter, and then there's, if you can see it well in the picture, there's like a hole for the ice to go in that keeps it out of the sake so that the sake gets cold, but the ice doesn't melt into it. And I thought that was really clever. I really like that design. And I wish that we saw more drinks served like that with like cool decanters that like work around that so that your drink doesn't get watered down. That really amused me. And apparently the sake was good. So on to the food. For the lunch menu, you get steamed and chilled edamame. I can never pronounce that word. You get the seaweed salad. You get 2 nigiri salmon, one nigiri tuna, one nigiri shrimp, and one roll of aburi spicy tuna. And then for the sides, you get pickled vegetables, wasabi, which is pretty typical, giri or ginger for also pretty typical for sushi, and then the soy sauce. Found it weird that those three things were listed as sides. Those are more condiments to me, but I mean, that's just semantics. And then there was no dessert with the lunch menu, but you know, that's fine. It was a lot of food. So now for the big question. How was the food? The edamame was good, but it is hard to mess up edamame. It was well salted. They didn't really give you anything to put your shells in. Normally you get like a little bowl that you can then throw the ends into, but we just put them on the plate. That was fine. The seaweed salad, I don't like seaweed salad. I tried it. It wasn't for me. It just wasn't good. And then the nigiri, didn't taste very fresh, which was frustrating. You know, when you're on the ship, you don't expect it to be super fresh, like just caught today or anything. But compared to having sushi on Royal or even having sushi on Carnival, this tasted very fishy and tasted like it was not like flash frozen fresh even. And it just kind of tasted off. The roll was fantastic. I really did enjoy the spicy tuna roll that came with it. That was really well done. The flavors went really well together. That was kind of the highlight of the meal for me. And then the pickled vegetables were pickled vegetables. So I would be interested to see going on a either different princess ship or even on Enchanted Princess again and trying it for dinner if some of the other stuff on the menu, because there is a more extensive dinner menu, was more to my taste and my liking. I think that the mistake was going in during the fixed menu time and not being able to order really what I wanted. I don't normally do nigiri because of the texture of the fish, and so I do feel like that gave it a slight disadvantage, so take my review with that in mind. The roll was really good, as I said, and I would have loved to have tried some of the other rolls. I just do wish that the fish used for the nigiri was a little fresher. I think that that would have been fine. So overall, I give Ocean Terrace a 5 out of 10. It was an okay experience. If I was on another princess ship, I would definitely try it again. However, if I was on Enchanted Princess again, I might use one of my casual dining credits to go get the pizza instead to try that, and I would probably choose O'Malley's over this. However, every place deserves 2 tries, and I don't think it's completely fair to judge it without trying it for dinner in its entirety. But the fish being not tasting fresh and being kind of off feeling in the mouth does make me think that I would still have that problem with dinner, because I do believe you get 2 pieces of nigiri. You just get to pick them with the dinner menu. So yeah, I would love to know your thoughts about Ocean Terrace if you've tried it, especially compared to some of the other sushi at sea. I am also, my 5 out of 10 comes with understanding that we are on a ship, so getting fresh ingredients is not easy or simple. That wraps up Ocean Terrace. Moving on to O'Malley's. O'Malley's, next to the 360 experience, O'Malley's was my favorite place to eat. We actually ate at O'Malley's twice over the course of the cruise. That's how much we loved it. You can use your casual dining option, which is what we did the first time. And the second time we just paid the $15 cover fee to eat there. And honestly, like, it was well worth it. Again, the value for what you're paying is fantastic here. So the first time we ate there, I had the hot artichoke and crab dip, the Beyond Burger, and the Bailey's cheesecake. And the second time I had the same appetizer and dessert, but I did have the classic fish and chips. We tried a lot of things on the menu between the 3 of us, and all of them were fantastic. So the atmosphere of the bar is great. There's live music going on most of the evening. There's a 5:30 show and a 7:30 show. So it does get a little loud, and you do need to get there early if you want to be there to eat during the live music. But you come in and you sit down, you get seated. it is the 3-course menu. It is not the set menu like it is at Ocean Terrace. O'Malley's is also open for lunch on sea days, and then in the evening from 5:30 to like 10. And the menu is all pub food, which the closest thing I can think of is eating at the local or Oceans on NCL. However, I liked the food a lot better here. The Beyond Burger was pretty standard. The hot crab and artichoke dip was so good. I got it twice, obviously. And the food just was fantastic. Whoever was cooking for O'Malley's did such a great job. I do know that they are right next to Rudy's, so I don't know if they were sharing a chef with Rudy's or if it was their own galley back there, but the food was all hot, fresh. It is faster than going to the dining room, typically is. Now, of course, I didn't eat dinner in the main dining room on this trip, but usually dinner in the dining room takes a couple hours. At O'Malley's, we were able to eat the first time in about 45 minutes. The second time did take longer. It was the last night of the cruise, and it did seem like things were a little slower, but I think that part of that was just the popularity of the restaurant on that night. And then also that was the only night we had any rough weather. So O'Malley's was so good. I'm going to rave. I'm going to rave for a second about the cheesecake. So I love cheesecake, and it is one of my favorite desserts when it's done well. That being said, I do think that it is easy to get cheesecake wrong. This Bailey's cheesecake was the best cheesecake I ever had. To the point where the first time we went, one of the other two got a different dessert, or actually I think they both got a different dessert, and I had them try it because I'm like, this is fantastic cheesecake. And then they ended up getting it the third night. We all got the same thing because it was just that good. The first night that we ate there was earlier in the cruise, and I did get 2 squares of cheesecake that night. The last night, there was definitely a difference in service. And I don't know if that was just that the servers were burnt out, if it was the rocking of the ship or what. But like I said earlier, it was slower and we only got 1 square of the cheesecake. But that cheesecake is the best dessert I've ever had on a cruise ship. If they put that dessert at the end of the 360 experience, I probably would have tried to sneak back in there a second night because the cheesecake was just amazing. But yeah, as far as pub food goes, it was really good pub food. It definitely was worth the money to go back. And you can't talk about O'Malley's without talking about the entertainment. So up at Ocean Terrace, it did feel very cramped, like I mentioned, and it wasn't an experience, it was a meal. Whereas at O'Malley's, when you go and you have this really talented band up there, this is where he was playing the flute on that last night, and they were so good, and they kept the energy going, and you had the Pirate Queen coming in. O'Malley's is an overall experience that really makes the food more enjoyable and makes it more fun. And you can see why it was popular and why sometimes it was hard to get a seat there. Even when we just went for music other nights, it was hard sometimes to sit down because it was, one, it's in the center of the ship. It's right on the piazza. And then 2, fun atmosphere, fun music, great food, great drinks. It was kind of a really popular spot. So if you are on a ship with an O'Malley's, I definitely would recommend going there. O'Malley's for me is a solid 8 out of 10. The only reason it does not get a higher score is because of that inconsistency in service on the last night, and that the Pirate Queen didn't show up the last night. I was very sad about that. I loved the Pirate Queen. She's such a fun addition to the whole experience. She comes up and she'll like steal your items and then bring them back, be like, oh, I have a gift for you. Aren't I so kind? And we got to interact with her the first time we ate there and as well as some other nights. And it really does elevate the experience, having that character come in and kind of play off of the band. And so yeah, O'Malley's was one of my favorite spots on the ship overall, but as far as food goes, it was fantastic. Definitely check it out. And if you've been to O'Malley's, I would love to hear your opinion on that. And that wraps up my review of O'Malley's and Ocean Terrace. I hope you found this useful. If you did, or if you find any of the content on our channel useful, I would ask that you please like this video and subscribe. It really does help us to continue to bring you great cruise videos and information. As always, I will see you next time. Have a great day.